right, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Sarah Fraser Show. We are doing a deep dive into the Brittany Murphy documentary that has been out on HBO. It is why I am donning Hollywood sunglasses. Well, that and I have no makeup on, okay? But we are doing a deep dive. I know this is it's tragically old, okay? This podcast is brand new, but the Brittany Murphy documentary came out like 3 weeks ago at this point. HBO Max. It's called What Happened to Brittany Murphy. If you haven't watched it yet and you don't want a ton of spoilers, well, then this episode is not for you, okay? But I am a huge Brittany Murphy fan. I adored her in Clueless. I adored her in 8 Mile. She was such an incredible child actress at such a young age, and then, of course, had a tragic life. Now, I will tell you, obviously, spoiler alert, I'm going to get into everything as I mentioned. But I will say this, I wasn't wild or excited about watching this episode or this documentary because I feel like Brittany Murphy, the sunglasses are coming off, by the way. I feel like Brittany Murphy is like Princess Diana, like the Beatles, okay, like the fucking Rolling Stones. Sorry to everybody that's 14 listening to this, okay? I won't drop any more F-bombs. It's just that we don't need any more documentaries on these people, all right? We know everything. And by the way, I don't remember the name, but if you want a great Brittany Murphy documentary, go to Discovery ID. A couple of years ago, they dropped a multi-part, it might even have been 4 parts, and it was excellent. Looking at her life, it talked to family and friends. And one of my issues with What Happened to Brittany Murphy, this documentary, is it's very tabloid-esque. And it's gotten a lot of backlash for that, by the way. Hold on. I need to fix my hair. Okay, thank you. It was in my eyes. All right. Oh, my Lord. I'm looking like a mess. Anyway, so it's very tabloid-esque. I didn't really want to watch this, but I'm glad I did because I found out new things about Brittany Murphy that I had no idea were true. And most of them revolve around her ex, well, not her ex, her husband, Simon Monjack, who died 5 months after she did. Okay, I had no idea. Let's just get to it. Simon had 2 children that nobody knew about. I don't even think Brittany Murphy's mom knew about them. So this 2-part series, the second part is better than the first. I'm going to be honest. I watched the first. I was surfing on my phone. I was like, blah, blah, blah. It was a lot of the usual stuff. And then the second part, they do a great job of getting into how controlling Simon Monjack was. Now, I wanted to do this review now because coincidentally, yesterday TMZ posted a story about Simon Monjack's brother who appears in the documentary. He says he was absolutely bamboozled, he and his mother, Simon's mom, into doing this documentary because they thought it was an investigation piece into how Brittany and Simon really died. Spoiler alert, they died exactly how the coroner said that they died, all right? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to entertain you with this idea that, they were killed by the mob when she didn't know. She was so sheltered. That's how she ended up with Simon, okay? She hardly left her house, you know what I mean? Let alone interacted with Tony Soprano. If you do like conspiracies, though, I hear that the podcast Conspiracy Theories by Parcast does an excellent episode on all the theories of what might have happened to Brittany Murphy. You find out in this documentary that she did not die of mold in the house. There was mold. Brittany's mom ends up doing a settlement with the builder of the house. They settled in a mold case, but the coroner never linked any mold to the death of Simon or of Brittany Murphy. So what we find out is it's sort of drug intoxication, pneumonia, and anemia that ends up killing Brittany Murphy in 2009 at the age of 32. And then 5 months later, Simon Monjack dies of essentially the same thing, pneumonia and drug intoxication, okay? The saddest part about this story, which I guess I didn't realize, is Brittany Murphy easily could have been saved. So she hadn't been feeling well the days leading up to her death, and she was so anemic, on a level that most people could not even, that was dumb, Sarah. She didn't survive it, right? So if she had just gone into the hospital and checked herself in, they would have done an easy blood test and they would have, essentially she would have been getting a blood transfusion, iron, all the things that help you with anemia, okay? I'm not a doctor, all right? Don't let me start going down a WebMD trail and trying to pretend to you like I know what they're supposed to do, all right? I don't know shit about anything to do with medical stuff. But I do know from the documentary that she could have easily been saved. So Simon dies 5 months later. In their home, and we'll get into their home because they lived in squalor, despite the fact she was a multimillionaire actress. So in their home, there's, I mean, oh my God, I'm not talking about like 15 prescriptions. I'm talking about 75, 80 prescriptions that Simon had to himself, other people's names. It is, it does not look good for Simon Monjack, okay? And of course, I think we all would expect his family, they're going to defend him. They try to defend him in the documentary. But it's very obvious that he was a con artist. So, the first episode, you get a lot of the background of her as a child actress. And sadly, I think that is exactly why she ends up hooking up with Simon, right? She's very sheltered with her mom. It's only the two of them. Her father was very absent. If you remember post-2009, he sort of came out of the woodwork and said that he wanted an investigation. He thought that something criminal had taken place. Of course, none of that turns out to be true. The coroner, they interview the coroner who talks the autopsy. I'm sure all the conspiracy theorists on this will be like, I don't believe that. Well, go and do your own deep dive. But anyway, that's the reality of it. So, Perez Hilton is on it, which a lot of people didn't like that Perez was on it because a lot of people feel that Perez was one of the people that bullied her to become anorexic. I'm sure it was a combination of things. I don't think you can blame the tabloid media at that time, but certainly in 2009, we know from Britney Spears, we know from Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, the tabloid media was so much more toxic, right? The real start and growth of the internet. Now I think people are much more aware. I think people are less tolerant, the public is, to invasive paparazzi. So people are upset that Perez is in it. I like Perez. I thought he shed light on it. He talked about how awful he feels. Paris Hilton predicted, like in 2008, Brittany Murphy would be the next celebrity to die. Paris says that she didn't even know Brittany at the time. She was just making a flippant comment. Okay, they make a huge issue of that in the documentary. They make a huge issue of Brittany Murphy's ex-boyfriend, Ashton Kutcher, being on Howard Stern. I adore Howard. How Howard kept grilling him about how many people that Brittany had sex with. And ultimately, all this tabloid attention, she realizes that she thinks she's too fat for Hollywood. She needs hair extensions. She needs to kind of have this very thin, that very really actress, thin anorexic look. Now, okay, I'm sure that's part of it. Apparently after that, she popped off. She got tons of roles, including the 8 Mile one with Eminem, which I'm going to be honest, I wanted them to hook up. And they did, apparently. Why didn't it work for those two? Oh my God. I mean, it's just, if she just had a different path, she and Eminem would be together and have a kid. She'd still be alive. That's what I wanted. Anyway, I adore her. She was so fucking talented. But remember how I said I wasn't going to curse for all the kids watching this? Anyway, I'm still cursing. Sorry. You guys are going to learn it one way or the other. So I really got into this documentary. I do think the anorexia came from the fact a lot of people in this documentary, including one of Simon Monjack's exes, who he has a child with, says that he was into women that were very anorexic. And he was so controlling over her. My personal opinion is I'm sure the paparazzi and the tabloids were very toxic to her, but I think probably being married to Simon was ultimately the most toxic, right? So, we see the bizarre marriage that happened, and the thing that ends up surprising you see the buildup of her career, and then part two, you see how they really lived, right? Brittany's mom lived with them, Simon Monjack. They live in squalor. They live in this beautiful house in Beverly Hills, but when they go into the bathroom and everything, she lived not as you would think a celebrity would, especially now in the era of TikTok where we have to go into everyone's house and see everyone's granite countertop. She didn't. Her bathroom was kind of dated. She had one room where she just hung clothes. So they were living, I think, maybe what you would stereotypically say of an addict family, right? I don't know how much Brittany's mom knew. They don't seem to indicate that. They seem to indicate that Brittany and her mom adored Simon, and Simon conned them into thinking he was terrific, right? So let's talk about Simon Monjack. First of all, he's some British producer who produced one little diddly squad thing. Comes over to America. He conned other women, conned them out of money, allegedly conned his own mom out of money. She denies that in the documentary. Then he ends up, he goes to some fancy Hollywood party. He's introduced to a guy who says, this guy was a Hollywood agent. I don't think he was an agent, but he was very high up in Hollywood. He's the one that sort of introduces they have a dinner party. He kind of introduces Simon to people, how he gets to meet Brittany, right? And then when this guy finds out that Brittany Murphy is dating Simon Monjack, calls her agent and management and warns her about Simon. And the message either didn't resonate or never gets there. My own personal opinion watching this is I think this is where child acting goes off the rails. Because I think Brittany and her mom were so sheltered from the world. They'd lived on sets. She never finished public high school. She just finished, probably a GED, or, her acting career was popping off at that point. So they had lived on movie sets. They hadn't been exposed to the real world. She'd had these failed relationships because she was so young. She was 32 when she passed away. She dated Ashton Kutcher, very high profile, Eminem. So I think she and her mom had no idea how to navigate the world and had never been exposed to really fraud people, or maybe they'd only been exposed to fraud people in Hollywood. So it was easy for Simon to prey on them. She was ready to settle down. She wanted to have a family. She gets married to Simon Monjack. And from the start, it was an odd pairing. You guys have to admit. I know everyone's very sensitive in this time now. Don't be making fun of people. Don't talk about their appearance. Simon Monjack was, a greasy looking folk, from Britain. I know. And here are the red flags for anybody watching this. If someone comes into your life like Simon Monjack did and says, "Oh, I'm a billionaire." Okay, will you please Google that? For God's sakes, I Googled this. There are only 27, maybe post-pandemic, because all these billionaires got rich, 3,000 billionaires in the entire world, okay? Half of them are in China. Half of them are in, Saudi Arabia. All right, there's a few sprinkled that are British and American, all right? Please Google it. He would go to Hollywood dinner parties and people would buy the fact that he was a billionaire. All right. He was not a billionaire. Number two, if somebody says to you that they have high-end art, like Picasso, he apparently said he had the world's biggest collection of Vermeer prints and paintings. All right. Okay. If anyone tells you that, bring an art dealer. This is Brittany Murphy, for God's sakes. Bring an art dealer and let's see it. All right. And if they're like, "Oh, it's in storage," it's probably fake. All right. On top of that, if you're a famous person, hire a PI person to do a background check, and do like another background check a year later. None of that was ever done. And for God's sakes, oh my God, don't give them your real jewelry. The saddest part of this, after Brittany dies, and Brittany's mom is mourning. They're running out of money. They're running out of money because Simon had 2 love children from previous relationships, and he was sending and funding those women and children money so they wouldn't out him as the fraud that he was. Brittany Murphy's money. He spent upwards of $3 million on his lifestyle. So Brittany's mom goes to cash in this jewelry. She had what she thought was $1 million in jewelry, only to find out that Simon had made it all into, gone out, gotten replicas. They take it to 2 high-end jewelers in Beverly Hills, and both jewelers go, "We're sorry. These are fakes." Can you imagine? It's one bizarre thing after another. Now, there was also a lot of rumors, they do address this, about Simon and Brittany's mom having a relationship, like a sexual relationship after Brittany passed. And that's from an interview that Simon did where he essentially said that he and Brittany's mom would sleep in the same bed together, right? Which people found very odd. The documentary it seems to say there isn't any evidence that they really did have a relationship. And he passed away 5 months after Brittany Murphy. So if they did, it was certainly short-lived, unless you believe, they were in a throuple. But they certainly don't make any they don't make anything to that. A lot of people parallel her life to Britney Spears in the sense of control that Simon had. Absolutely. It seems that Simon, he would come on to movie sets. He would control what she did, who came into her trailer. They have a guy who directed a film that she was in towards the end of her life. He said she was very coherent at first, and then it was a mess. In fact, he was looking for someone to replace her. He goes to Simon, tells him that, and then she sort of cleans up enough to finish out the film. So tragic. And, eventually Simon just cuts her off to the rest of the world. Her friends, other agents, management, PR, nobody can really get to her. And her mom, I guess the part that I think is disappointing in the documentary is the mom didn't really have any friends or anybody. They don't really interview anyone to talk about how Brittany's mom really realize the red flags? Because obviously Brittany didn't. the other part that's so disturbing, God, this parallels my life. They feature throughout the documentary these YouTubers, these like trashy YouTubers who are doing their makeup and talking about her death and conspiracy theories. And I thought, oh my God, I mean, if my life, if my YouTube clips get picked up and then like portrayed of me like spouting off, I mean, what is my life? You know, I mean, it was like, oh, but you know, I think their point was, the filmmakers, is to show that she was tabloid fodder to anyone. And here I am talking about it. Add me to the list, I guess. Add me to the list. So, you know, the second part I really was glad that I watched because I had no idea. I think I think the documentary is certainly good in the sense that it's a warning to people of a controlling man, and especially to successful women in Hollywood who are at prey, or if you're very wealthy, right? You know, so many people want you only for your money and your fame. And it was clear that Simon was that. Anyway, Simon dies 5 months later. He has pneumonia. He has drug intoxication. He's sort of, you know, at the time of his death, he's kind of having these inappropriate phone calls with an Us Weekly, reporter who's going to do an expose on it. And the whole thing, I think, is just, of course, we know it's like the saddest thing. I hope so many people have learned from this. And I think in Hollywood and child actors and stars, and I think it was just the trifecta of things of she and her mom being codependent on one another. She wanted love so badly, she overlooked these red flags. And then, you know, I think being sheltered, she probably just didn't realize what was happening. I want to thank a couple of sponsors. Let's talk ZocDoc, all right? If you haven't heard of ZocDoc, it's a free app where you can find a local doctor, therapist, dentist, anybody really, that when it comes to medical and even therapy, as I said. With ZocDoc, you can research and find local doctors that take your insurance, read verified patient reviews, and book an appointment in person or video chat. Never wait on hold with a receptionist again. Just download the free ZocDoc app, the easiest way to find a great doctor and instantly book an appointment. I don't know about you, but certainly during the pandemic, I neglected my health. I didn't want to go to a doctor because I was very fearful of COVID. But now that things are getting better, it's the time to take care of you and your health. Go to ZocDoc.com/TSFS and download the ZocDoc app to sign up for free. Every month, millions of people use ZocDoc, and I'm one of them. It's a go-to whenever I need to see a doctor, especially locally in my area. I've loved it. The app is very easy to navigate. It's totally free, which I love. And ZocDoc makes healthcare so easy. Now is the time to prioritize your health. Go to ZocDoc.com/TSFS and download the ZocDoc app to sign up for free and book a top-rated doctor. Many are available as soon as today for you. That's ZocDoc, which is ZocDoc.com/TSFS. Also, free fibroid consultations continue into November. If you're in the DC region, Dr. Will Neem is a top fibroid doctor in Maryland, but also across the country. And he runs Horizon Fibroids. HorizonFibroids.com. You can go to their website. They accept almost all insurance. You can book a consultation today, or Dr. Will is giving away 2 more free fibroid consultations. All you need to do is email thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com. Boom. I will connect you with Dr. Will. Fibroids can impact everything, your basic everyday health. You know that you have them because of heavy periods, long periods. You may have bloating in your stomach that never goes away. Also, it can impact your fertility. So don't wait. Uterine fibroid embolization is a low impact surgery, low downtime that Dr. Will specializes in. It can help get rid of your fibroids, potentially for good. HorizonFibroids.com, or for that free consultation, thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com. Talk to me about Switchcraft. Guys, I love this new app. I downloaded it. Another free app. It's a match 3 or storytelling adventure game, and I can't put it down. It's so much fun to play. And I think I'm on level like 4 now at this point. A lot of us know that match 3 games can be a lot of fun, but it seems like most of them are the same, right? Same themes, same characters. Kind of gets boring after a while. Switchcraft is a mobile game with a unique blend of TV-worthy writing, choose your own adventure style narrative, which reminds me of my childhood, and thousands of magical match 3 levels. The characters are great. One of the things I like about this game, Switchcraft, is it features over 85 characters from a variety of cultural backgrounds, backgrounds, as well as differently abled and LGBTQ plus characters. So I think that is really special. It's really cool, and it's just very diverse. In Switchcraft, you take the role of the witch at Pendle Hill. I'm a witch, guys. The world's top academy of witchcraft. Play your way through hundreds of enchanting match 3 levels, revealing a dark and winding mystery story. It all starts with the disappearance of your best friend, and now it's up to you to unravel the mystery of her disappearance using your magical match 3 skills. I'm not very good at it yet because after a while, the gems sort of start flashing at me, trying to tell me, like, this is a match 3. I'm like, I know, I'm getting to it. Download Switchcraft for free and unlock the magical mystery. Thank you, Switchcraft. So on the Sarah Fraser Show this last week and this week, there's so many episodes that you need to check out. I did a 3-part series on Divorce Dish. If you're thinking about getting divorced or you've been divorced, you're going to love it. 3 ladies reveal everything from if their kids resent them from getting divorced, what was the tipping point for their divorce, and how much did it cost. Also, currently, this week on the show, I have an OnlyFans Christian model who has threesomes with God. You heard that right. Nita Murray. She's excellent and amazing. And then also a singer-songwriter from LA, Lauren LaGrazzo, who has the Fuckboy theme song that you must download. All that is on The Sarah Fraser Show. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is right here, The Sarah Fraser Show. And check out the podcast with new episodes dropping Monday through Wednesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. Guys, I love you all. Bye, everybody.